where Republicans are hoping to have some success. One of those candidates is Thomas DeVore. He is the GOP candidate for Illinois State Attorney General. Tom, welcome to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being on here with us today.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
You bet. You know, I was watching the Cardinals game last night, and there's a man in a red shirt right behind home plate. And I said to my husband, is that Tom DeVore? And it absolutely was. You got to watch quite a Cardinals game last night at Wrigley Field.
It was an excellent game, and the more excited I got, the more the interesting looks I got from all of them sitting around me. It was kind of fun sitting there with a red shirt with all the Cubby fans.
Well, you're sitting there in the belly of the Chicago Cubs beast, also around a bunch of Chicagoans, people who put baseball aside. These are people who live in the same state that we do down here in southwestern Illinois. And I would think that there are a lot of things that those Cubs fans up north have in common with the Cardinals fans down south, which is rising inflation, a state government that doesn't seem to look out for the average Illinois citizen. And it's a very blue state. Do you have actual hope that maybe Illinois is going to try something new this midterm?
I do have that, because you're exactly right. Sitting in the city of Chicago and being there a lot, and I'm actually there right now, you know, they are not enamored with the way that the state officials, the governor, attorney general, and even if you get locally there, Mayor Lightfoot and State's Attorney Kim Fox, nobody there has anything good to say about those folks, because, you know, just when we were at that game last night, there was a stabbing right on Michigan Avenue.
Oh my gosh.
Right where all of the stores are at on the Magnificent Mile. This wasn't 3 o'clock in the morning, Annie. This was 7:45 at night. There was a stabbing right there on the main part of the road. And you know what? People are scared, and government's not doing anything about it.
Well, let me ask you that. Is the potential future attorney general of the state of Illinois, crime in Chicago is certainly rampant, but we've seen Governor Pritzker and his administration really go soft on crime, soft on criminals. What is your position as an attorney general if you were to win that election? What kind of things can you do to curb the way we're headed?
Prosecute criminals that Kim Fox won't prosecute is one thing that we can do. You know, Governor Pritzker, he's just a pandering billionaire who doesn't feel the impact of some of these progressive liberal ideals that he tries to put out there. He's kind of like George Soros. They're cut from the same cloth. You know, they put all of these progressive liberal policies in place, try to make themselves feel good, and pander to the liberals who also aren't impacted by these policies. And so the attorney general that we have now, Kwame Raoul, he's just a lapdog to Governor Pritzker. He's never going to do anything that the governor doesn't want him to do. We need a new attorney general that will actually keep these things in check and actually help keep people safe.
I completely agree. Just even the message that there is going to be law and order in the state of Illinois. I mean, I always say the way Illinois goes, that the federal government, the people who are in charge of the federal government right now, would like to implement many of the things that Illinois has already mastered. And I like to remind people, this is, you know, you kind of get used to the Illinois way. We're speaking with Tom DeVore right now, who's running for the Illinois Attorney General position. It doesn't have to be this way in the state of Illinois, does it?
It doesn't have to be that way, and I don't think it's going to be that way much longer, because what happened is with, you know, the Democratic Party, sadly, has been absolutely consumed by the progressive liberals. And even though Illinois, you know, we have a lot of Democrats, most of the Democrats, they think like normal people and that they want to be safe. They want to have opportunity. They want their children to have opportunities. And the last 2 years, especially during the COVID pandemic, the liberals have lost their ever-loving minds and have done things that the Democrats don't like anymore. So I think we're going to see a significant influx in the minority communities as well, not voting for the Democrats, because the policies that have been implemented have absolutely destroyed their communities, made them less safe. Public corruption is absolutely out of control in Illinois, and the establishment Democrats are doing nothing about it.
We have Tom DeVore on with us here on the Annie Frey Show right now. Go to tomdevore.com, or better yet, connect with Tom DeVore on Facebook to get a lot of his updates on how the campaign is going and where the state of Illinois is headed. As you're running for Attorney General, you're campaigning across the state. of course, people can tune into whatever media choices they have, and there's always kind of a presentation of the way the state of Illinois will go politically, and it's kind of predictable. But you're on the ground, you're talking to people, and you're going places, and you're listening to folks. What do you hear on the ground regarding the race that you're in, or races of other Republicans that are statewide offices that are headed towards this midterm? Are people motivated for change?
They're they're motivated. When you say motivated for change, they're motivated for primarily right now safety. Crime is the biggest conversation piece across the state of Illinois by far. And, this new Safety Act that they pushed through at wee hours in the morning that goes into effect on January 1st. We've got a lot of the Democrat leaders even talking about this no cash bail and what it's going to do and how it's going to start emboldening criminals statewide, kind of like they're emboldened right now. I mean, what we're seeing in the city of Chicago and in Cook County is what's going to start happening statewide if we don't get this under control. And so I've been in a lot of the minority communities on the south and west side, and they have nothing good to say about Pritzker. They have nothing good to say about Kim Fox and Mayor Lightfoot. They are absolutely livid with what's happened to their children the last 2 years and forcing them to stay at home and to wear these masks. And, if Illinois is ever in the position right now to say we're not going to deal with the progressive liberal ideas that you're trying to cram down our throat from Washington, because that's where they're coming from, Annie. All these ideas that Pritzker's putting in place, he's not that smart. These are not his ideas. These are progressive liberal ideals from Washington, D.C., and Pritzker is pandering to them because he thinks he can be president. That's what's going on in our state. Gross.
I hate it. Tom DeVore with us right now, GOP candidate for Illinois Attorney General. You mentioned Pritzker, Lightfoot, Fox, and Kwame Raoul's current Attorney General. You can sum up for this in ways that us non-legal eagles don't understand when it just comes to access to authority, to power. What these individuals that have been running the state of Illinois for the last 3.5 years, the access to power and authority and executive order that they've implemented has been jaw-dropping. What have these individuals who are in charge across the board on a statewide level been able to implement that could quickly be rid of so that Illinoisans would be able to enjoy that same freedom that their red state counterparts do?
Well, on day one as the Attorney General, if there's any executive orders that are left that Governor Pritzker has in place and his disaster proclamations where he's doing these things, my office will communicate to whoever the governor is, the state of Illinois, that you don't have an attorney anymore defending these unlawful acts. You've actually got an enemy, and the Attorney General is going to switch sides immediately, and you better rescind these executive orders, or otherwise, if Governor Pritzker thinks he's going to continue that stuff, he may be looking at an official misconduct action himself because he doesn't have the authority to do those things. And my office will make sure it's crystal clear that he needs to let all that go and let it go on day one.
We're speaking with Tom DeVore, and I'd encourage you to check out Tom DeVore's Facebook page. He has a lot of updates there as he is pursuing the Attorney General seat in the state of Illinois. I want to ask you about Chicago. We talk a lot about downstate. You are very familiar, obviously, with downstate Illinois. The question is going to be Chicago. All the statewide races, you don't have to win Cook County, but you have to compete in Cook County. I think the rest of the state has an appetite for something different. How is Chicago? You talked about people being frustrated with these individuals, but what kind of turnout do you actually expect from a very, very blue county that drives the entire state to be a very deep blue state? What kind of turnout do you expect come November with the people up in the northeast corner?
I think you're that part of the Democratic Party that would vote for, doesn't matter who it is, Democrat. They're going to vote for Pritzker. They don't care what kind of tyrant he is. They don't really have a reason to come out. They're not very enamored with him, and so we don't believe that their vote out will be high. But the moderate and the, I call them normal thinking. It's a colloquial term. Democrats who are not enamored with this, I think they're going to turn out a lot. They didn't turn out a lot in the primary because they didn't have anything to vote for. But they're going to turn out. I mean, the governor's office and Mayor Lightfoot and Kim Foxx have done everything they can to alienate the Democratic base. I mean, the main Democratic Party, not the liberal fringe lefties. You know, the unions, the public union, we got endorsed by the state FOP lodge, you know, for firefighters, police officers, correction officers. You know, that was a big part of the Democratic base 4 years ago, and they've completely lost that base because of things like the Safety Act and trying to cram vaccination down these men and women's throats. And so they're going to turn out in strong numbers, and they're not going to turn out for the Democrats. I mean, when I was in the Bud Billiken parade a couple of weeks ago, and when they saw our material and what we had, they do not like Kim Foxx. They cannot stand Kim Foxx. And that's why Kim Foxx likely wasn't at that parade. And that's why I'm hearing she may not even run again, because she has alienated the black community with what she's been doing. And Pritzker was not received with a very warm welcome either. So, I mean, the governor did everything he could to get rid of the Democratic chairperson who was a black woman, and he did all his maneuvering, and she's no longer in that position, and that didn't go over well in the black community.
Last question. I only got about a minute left here. Speaking with Tom DeVore, we talked about Cook County and what needs to happen there. What do you need from Southern Illinois, however anybody defines that, the grassroots movement that has really pushed a lot of these people who won the primary to win the primary? What do you need from Southern Illinois in order to be successful?
It's real simple. They need to get out and vote in droves. They need to overperform in the voting this election cycle, right? This is a non-presidential cycle. So, you know, the turnout is typically not as strong. We need it to be strong. We need everybody from Cairo all the way as far north as you want to run that you call Southern Illinois. They need to get out and vote, and they need to vote in large numbers, because that's going to help carry the statewide vote.
Tom DeVore, I think a lot of people are very hopeful for you and your candidacy, as well as a lot of the other people who are slated to compete in November. And we look forward to talking to you again as we get closer.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Have a good day.
Yes, you as well. GOP candidate for Illinois Attorney General Tom DeVore with us there. Go follow him on Facebook. You can go to tomdevore.com as well.